Some stories entertain us, but stories can also change the way we think, feel, and see our own life. In this compilation of 5 short stories, each tale is inspired by ancient wisdom and designed to bring comfort, fresh insight, and a moment of peace in a busy world. You'll journey through powerful moments of reflection, so stay around because one of these stories may be exactly what your heart needs today. A Woman and a Master. A woman went to a master and said, "I have many questions. I came for answers." She asked, "Does God exist?" The master replied, "Who would disappear if the answer were no?" She paused, then asked, "What is truth?" The master said, "How do you know there is truth?" Growing restless, she asked, "Which path should I follow?" The master answered, "Who is walking?" Her voice sharpened. "Is there any answer you can give me?" The master looked at her gently and asked, "Who is asking?" Silence fell. Her face tightened. She was upset she had received no answers. Seeing her frustration, the master picked up a shell and held it to her ear. "What do you hear?" he asked. "The ocean," she said. The master smiled. "Is the ocean inside the shell?" She hesitated. "I don't think so." "And truth is not inside answers," the master said. "A teacher who gives you answers keeps you listening to echoes." Echo of Life. A young boy asked his teacher, "Why is life unfair to me?" They were sitting in a wide valley. The teacher looked at him and said, "Shout out loud what life has given you." The boy took a breath and shouted, "Pain! You made me suffer." A few moments later, his words returned to him, echoing through the mountains. "Pain made me suffer." The boy lowered his head. Then the teacher stepped forward and shouted, "I love you! I will make you happy!" The mountains answered, "I love you! I will make you happy!" The boy looked at the teacher and smiled. The teacher said, "Life is like this valley. It may take time to answer, but it always returns what you send into it, often more than once." He paused, then added, "If you are still hearing painful echoes, sit quietly and let them fade. And from now on, choose your words carefully." The Narrow Passage. One afternoon, a young student arrived at the master's hut. He looked upset. "Master," he said, "I argued with my mother this morning again. She worries about everything I do, everywhere I go." He paused. "Everyone seems worried all the time." Then he asked, "Why does life feel this way?" The master listened. For a moment he said nothing. Then he stood up. "I was about to go for a swim in the river," he said. "Would you like to come?" They walked together to the river. The valley was wide and peaceful. The water moved slowly under the sunlight. They stepped in. The current carried them gently downstream. The boy laughed. "This is good," he said. "I wish my life could always feel like this." The master nodded. "Yes," he said. "This is a peaceful river." For a while they simply floated, no words, only the sound of the water. Then something began to change. The river grew narrower. The banks moved closer together. Rocks appeared in the current. The water started moving faster. Then the boy heard something, a deep sound in the distance, a roar. Before he could speak, the master moved ahead and disappeared between 2 dark rocks. Suddenly, the boy was alone. The river grew louder. He couldn't see where it was going. His chest tightened. What if there is a waterfall? He thought. The current pulled him forward. Master, he shouted, but the river swallowed his voice. For a moment he stopped swimming and he began to cry. Then, something inside him shifted. He realized he couldn't stay where he was. The river was still moving, so he gathered his courage and followed the same narrow path through the rocks. The water rushed around him, but when he passed through the narrow place, everything changed. The river opened again, the current slowed, the roaring faded, and there, sitting calmly on a rock, was the master. He looked at the boy and smiled. What took you so long? The boy climbed out of the water, still shaking. I thought something terrible had happened, he said. I couldn't see where the river was going. I thought we might fall. The master listened quietly. Then he said, Life flows like this river. Peace is its nature. But when the mind becomes narrow and cannot see what comes next, the current begins to roar. The boy thought about this. Then the master added, If you do not want the people around you to worry, do not disappear into the narrow places without letting them see where you are going. The boy looked back at the river. Now the water seemed calm again, and suddenly he understood why his mother had been afraid. He thanked the master for the lesson. Then the master stood up and walked back toward the narrow place where the water was rushing. To the boy's surprise, he jumped straight into the current and began sliding playfully through the rushing water. The boy laughed. Master, isn't it dangerous? The master smiled. If the mind is clear, he said, even the narrow places can become a place to play. Soon they were both laughing and swimming in the rushing water, and the river carried their laughter down the valley. The Way of the Sea. A weary man sat by the sea, speaking to the wind. Why does life never follow my plans? He asked. I prepare carefully. I think ahead, yet everything drifts another way. Nearby, an old man mended a rope. He listened without seeming to. After a while, he said, Have you ever sailed? Yes, the man replied. The old man nodded toward the boat on the horizon. Then tell me, does the captain command the wind or adjust the sails? They watched the tide move in silence. The old man tied his final knot and said, Life is like the sea. Its winds and tides are its own. The question is not whether you can control them, but whether you have learned how to sail through them. The Silent Flute. A troubled boy sat beside his master, his shoulders slightly heavy. He looked down for a moment, then finally asked, Why can't I find my voice in the world? The master didn't answer right away. He simply reached beside him and picked up a bamboo flute, old and smooth from time, and handed it to the boy. Play, the master said. The boy lifted the flute to his lips. Unsure but willing, he took a breath and blew into it. No sound came, only a faint empty flow of air. He lowered it slowly and said, It is silent. He turned it in his hands, looking more closely now. Then he noticed something. Small circles marked along its surface, but there were no holes. The master stood up quietly and walked to the window. He opened it. A fresh breeze entered the room, cool and gentle, moving the curtains and brushing against their skin. Your spirit is like the wind, the master said. If you want it to express itself, you must at least open the windows. The boy said nothing. He just stood there holding the flute, thinking. The master returned and placed a small knife in his hand. "Carve where the marks are." The boy hesitated. He looked at the flute, then at the knife. And if I do it wrong, he thought. He had never done this before. What if I ruined it? For a moment he almost gave up. But slowly, carefully, he began to carve. When he finished, he held the flute again and showed it to the master. Again the master said, "Play." He lifted to his lips and took a deep breath. This time when he blew, his breath passed through it, and a soft sound appeared. Then another, and soon music filled the hall, and in that moment his fear softened. He realized the life within him already knew what to do. He only needed to open and let it flow.